In the vast expanse of space, amid the glittering stars and swirling nebulae, the Crixian Empire made what historians would later call the most catastrophic miscalculation in galactic history. They had conquered 12 star systems, subjugated 36 species, and believed themselves to be the undisputed masters of tactical warfare. But they had never encountered humans before. The attack came without warning. On a quiet Tuesday morning, as children across Earth's outer colonies prepared for their virtual learning sessions, the Crixian warships emerged from hyperspace. Their quantum scanners had detected what they classified as developmental training centers, schools in human terms. According to their tactical doctrine, these represented optimal targets for psychological warfare. Admiral Vixthor, commander of the Crixian Third Fleet, stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his scaled skin reflecting the harsh artificial light. "Begin the purge," he ordered, his three-fingered hand gesturing at the holographic display of the human colonies. "Show these primitives the price of resistance." 7,000 children across 15 colonies vanished in an instant, their bodies dissolved by quantum displacement beams. The Crixians called it humane reduction, a strategic elimination designed to break the spirit of any species that dared to resist their rule. It had worked countless times before, but humans were different. The response wasn't immediate. For 3 days, an eerie silence fell across human space. The Crixians interpreted this as shock, as submission. They were wrong. In the depths of Earth's most secure facility, beneath the Mariana Trench, Project Oracle was already in motion. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her voice steady despite the weight of what she was about to propose. "We've been preparing for something like this," she said, bringing up a holographic display of what appeared to be a simple double helix. "Project Oracle isn't a weapon, it's a message." The council chambers erupted in whispers as the display transformed, showing the quantum-engineered organism they had created. It appeared to be a cat, but its DNA had been fundamentally altered, infused with human consciousness and quantum mechanics that defied conventional physics. "The Crixians believe they understand warfare," Dr. Chen continued, her eyes reflecting the blue glow of the hologram. "They think they understand fear, but they've never experienced human grief, human rage, or human ingenuity. They've never encountered something like Echo." Echo was the culmination of 15 years of secret research, a living quantum computer in the form of a seemingly ordinary house cat. Its mind was a collective consciousness, carrying within it the final thoughts and memories of the 7,000 children who had been murdered. But more than that, it carried humanity's capacity for both mercy and vengeance. Admiral Vixthor received the first warning 6 days after the attack. It came in the form of a simple transmission, broadcast on all frequencies. You should have read the footnotes. The message was accompanied by an image, a small black cat with eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. The Crixian command dismissed it as primitive psychological warfare. After all, what harm could a single Earth creature do to an empire that spanned dozens of star systems? Their arrogance would prove to be their undoing. In the following days, strange reports began filtering in from Crixian outposts. Reality seemed to be shifting. Quantum fluctuations appeared without cause. Military installations reported temporal anomalies. And everywhere, in the corners of their vision, Crixian soldiers swore they could see a small black cat, watching them with knowing eyes. Dr. Chen stood in the observation room, watching as Echo was prepared for transport. The cat lay calmly in its containment field, its fur slightly rippling, as if caught in an unseen breeze. Within its modified brain, quantum algorithms were already at work, calculating probability vectors and reality intersections. "Are we certain about this?" General Rivera asked, standing beside her. "Once we deploy Echo, there's no going back. The changes it will make to reality." "They killed our children," Dr. Chen replied, her voice hard. "They thought it would break us. Instead, it gave us focus. Everything we've learned about quantum mechanics, consciousness transfer, reality manipulation. It all led to this moment. Echo isn't just carrying our message. It's carrying our promise. As the transport ship prepared for launch, Dr. Chen placed her hand against the containment field. Echo looked up at her, its eyes now glowing with a subtle blue light. In those eyes, she could see the reflection of 7,000 lost futures, 7,000 voices crying out for justice. The Crixian Empire was about to learn why humans had survived countless extinction events, why they had clawed their way up from caves to the stars. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or its technology, but in its ability to turn grief into purpose, rage into innovation, and loss into an unstoppable force of change. Echo purred, a sound that seemed to resonate at a quantum level, and Dr. Chen smiled. The Crixians had sought to break humanity's spirit. Instead, they had given it focus, and now, that focus was about to teach them the true meaning of fear. The quantum transport ship Whisper sliced through the darkness of space, its stealth systems rendering it invisible to conventional sensors. In its heavily shielded core, Echo sat in a meditation chamber designed specifically for its unique biology. The cat's consciousness expanded and contracted with each breath, its quantum-enhanced mind reaching across space-time like ripples in a cosmic pond. Captain Maya Rodriguez watched through the observation window, still struggling to comprehend what humanity had created. The cat's fur shimmered with patterns that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the human eye could process. Every movement it made left quantum echoes in reality, like afterimages that lingered too long. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Chen's voice startled her. The scientist had approached silently, her eyes fixed on Echo. "We didn't just create a weapon, Maya. We created a mirror, one that will show the Crixians exactly what they've done." The ship's quantum sensors registered another spike as Echo processed more of the consciousness matrix within its enhanced brain. Each spike carried with it whispers of children's laughter, fragments of dreams that would never be realized, hopes that had been cut short by Crixian weapons. "How much do you think it understands?" Maya asked, watching as Echo's tail twitched, causing a brief distortion in the ship's artificial gravity. "Everything," Dr. Chen replied. "And nothing." The consciousness matrix contains the final moments of every child they killed. Their fears, their confusion, their last thoughts of home and family. But it also contains something the Crixians couldn't possibly have predicted, their potential. The ship's AI chimed softly, announcing their approach to the first target, a Crixian military outpost on the edge of their territory. Echo's ears perked up, and for a moment, the observation window showed not the sterile chamber, but a classroom full of laughing children. "That's not just an illusion, is it?" Maya asked, her voice barely a whisper. "No," Dr. Chen confirmed. "Echo doesn't create illusions. It creates possibilities. Every child they killed had countless potential futures. Echo can access those quantum possibilities and make them real, if only for a moment. Imagine what that will do to the minds of those who murdered them." The Whisper's stealth systems engaged fully as they entered Crixian space. In the meditation chamber, Echo began to purr, the sound resonating at frequencies that shouldn't have been possible. Reality rippled around the ship like heat waves off hot pavement. "We're receiving a transmission from command," the ship's AI announced. "The Crixian outpost is reporting unusual phenomena. Their quantum communications are experiencing distortions." Dr. Chen smiled. "Echo is already at work. It's showing them fragments of what they destroyed. Birthday parties that will never happen, graduations that will never be celebrated, first loves that will never bloom. Each possibility is a quantum knife, cutting away at their certainty." The outpost came into view on the main screen, a massive structure of dark metal and pulsing energy fields. As they watched, strange distortions began to appear around its edges. Windows showed impossible scenes. Children playing in corridors that should have been empty, classrooms existing in spaces meant for weapon storage. "The Crixians believe in absolute control," Dr. Chen explained. checking the quantum readings on her tablet. Their entire empire is built on the idea that reality is fixed, deterministic. Echo is about to show them how wrong they are. In the meditation chamber, Echo stood, stretching in a way that seemed to bend space itself. The cat's eyes glowed brighter, and Maya could have sworn she saw thousands of tiny reflections in them, faces of children, all watching, all waiting. "We're in range," the AI announced. "Echo can be deployed at your command." Dr. Chen pressed her hand against the observation window. "You know what to do," she whispered, and Maya wasn't sure if she was talking to Echo or to the ghosts of the children it carried within. Echo's form began to blur, its edges becoming indistinct as quantum probability waves collapsed and reformed around it. The cat looked directly at them through the window, and for a brief moment, its face seemed to be composed of thousands of smaller faces, all moving, all alive with possibility. "Remember," Dr. Chen said to Maya, "Echo isn't just carrying our revenge. It's carrying our memory, our love, our refusal to let those children be forgotten." The Crixians thought they could erase them from existence. Instead, they'd given them a way to exist everywhere, in every possibility, forever. The meditation chamber filled with a soft blue light as Echo's quantum state began to shift. The cat's physical form became increasingly abstract, more like a suggestion of a shape than a solid object. Through the window, Maya could see strands of probability weaving themselves around Echo's form, each one carrying fragments of lost futures. "Deployment in 3, 2, 1. The AI counted down. Echo vanished, but not in a flash or a fade. Instead, it seemed to expand into every possible version of itself simultaneously, spreading through quantum space like ink through water. The last thing Maya saw before the cat fully disappeared was its smile. Not a cat's smile, but the collected smiles of 7,000 children, all promising that justice was coming. The Crixian Empire was about to learn that some weapons don't destroy their targets. They haunt them with the weight of what they've destroyed. And Echo, carrying the quantum ghosts of 7,000 murdered futures, was about to become their worst nightmare. High Commander Zexlar of the Crixian Empire stood in his private chambers aboard the Imperial Command Station, staring at the strange reflections in his polished armor. Where there should have been only the metallic sheen of ceremonial plating, he saw impossible things. Children playing, learning, growing. Human children. Their faces flickered across his armor like ghosts, their laughter echoing in frequencies that shouldn't exist. The reports had been flooding in for days now. First from the outer colonies, then from military installations closer to the core worlds. Reality itself seemed to be fraying at the edges. Soldiers reported seeing classrooms where weapon caches should be, hearing the sounds of playground games in the sterile corridors of warships. "High Commander," his aide's voice crackled through the quantum comm. "We've lost contact with the Nexus 9 outpost." Before communications failed, they reported, "Seeing things." Zexalar's secondary heart began to beat faster, a sign of stress his species had evolved eons ago. "What kinds of things?" "They said," the aide hesitated, "they said they saw a cat. And then they saw what could have been." The High Commander's scaled skin rippled with unease. The human transmission, the one with the image of the small black cat, had seemed like such a primitive attempt at psychological warfare. But now, in the quantum security center of the station, Officer Kreifel watched as reality fluctuations spread across the monitoring screens like a virus. The cat had been spotted in 17 different locations simultaneously, each sighting accompanied by widespread system failures and psychological breakdowns among the troops. But it wasn't just the cat they were seeing. It was the possibilities, the quantum ghosts of futures that the Crixian Empire had erased. Every soldier who encountered the phenomenon reported the same thing. Visions of the human children they had killed, not as they were, but as they could have been. "Send another squad to Nexus 9, Zexlar ordered, trying to keep the tremor out of his voice. "Full quantum shielding protocols. Nothing gets in or out without." He stopped, There, in the corner of his chamber, sat Echo. The cat's fur rippled with quantum probability waves, each movement leaving traces across multiple dimensions. Its eyes, glowing with an impossible blue light, held the reflections of thousands of faces. "What are you?" Zexlar whispered, reaching for his quantum disruptor. Echo's form shifted, becoming temporarily transparent, revealing the quantum matrix within. A complex web of consciousness, memory, and possibility. When it spoke, its voice was a chorus of 7,000 children. "We are what you try to erase," the voices said in perfect unison. "We are what could have been. We are the price of your arrogance." The quantum disruptor in Zexlar's hand transformed into a child's toy spacecraft, then a graduation certificate, then a wedding invitation, each object a fragment of a future that would never come to pass. The High Commander stumbled backward, his militant composure cracking. Throughout the station, reality began to splinter. Soldiers found themselves walking through human schools that existed in quantum superposition with their military quarters. Engineers discovered their weapon systems had been replaced by playgrounds, existing in the same space at the same time. Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez watched the chaos unfold through Echo's quantum feed, transmitted back to the Whisper through entangled particles. "The quantum consciousness matrix is working perfectly," Dr. Chen observed, studying the readings. "Echo isn't just showing them what they destroyed. It's making them experience every possibility they erased." In the Imperial Command Station, Echo moved through quantum space like a ghost, its presence causing ripples in reality that spread across the Crixian Empire's neural network. Every soldier who had participated in the attack on the human colonies found themselves haunted by the futures they had ended. Zexlar watched in horror as his private chamber transformed around him. The walls became classroom displays showing children's artwork. His war trophies turned into science fair projects and sports medals. Each transformation was accompanied by the voices of the children who would never achieve these things. "You thought death was the end," Echo's chorus of voices continued. "You thought you could simply erase us from existence, but humans understand something you don't. That every life creates endless possibilities, and those possibilities echo through reality forever." The cat's form began to multiply, creating quantum copies of itself throughout the station. Each copy carried different fragments of the consciousness matrix, showing different possible futures to different Crixian officers. Some saw the children growing up to become scientists. Others saw them as artists, teachers, parents, each possibility a sharp reminder of what had been lost. "Stop this," Zexlar demanded, his military training warring with the growing horror in his hearts. "This is a violation of reality itself." Echo's quantum copies merged back into a single form, its eyes now containing entire universes of possibility. "No," the chorus replied. "This is justice. This is memory. This is humanity showing you the true cost of what you've done." Throughout the Crixian Empire, similar scenes were playing out. The quantum consciousness matrix spread through their neural networks like a virus, but instead of destroying data, it was adding to it, showing them the weight of 7,000 futures they had tried to erase. Back on the Whisper, Dr. Chen watched the quantum readings spike. "Echo is rewriting their understanding of reality," she explained to Maya. "Every Crixian who encounters it is being forced to experience the full potential of every life they ended. Their minds weren't designed to handle this kind of quantum possibility." The cat's quantum presence had become a psychological weapon, more powerful than any conventional arms. It didn't destroy its targets. It made them understand, at the deepest level of their consciousness, exactly what they had destroyed. As Echo continued its mission, moving through the Crixian command structure like a quantum ghost, the Empire began to crumble not from external attacks, but from the weight of understanding. Their military precision was shattered by the realization that every life they had ended contained infinite possibilities, and those possibilities were now haunting them across every dimension of reality. The revolution they had feared from humanity never came in the form of warships or armies. Instead, It came in the form of a cat carrying the quantum ghosts of 7,000 futures, teaching an empire the true meaning of loss, one possibility at a time. The Crixian Empire's central world, Crix Prime, was in chaos. In the grand halls of the Imperial Palace, where strategic decisions to conquer worlds were once made with cold precision, reality itself had become unreliable. Quantum fluctuations ripple through the architecture, transforming military briefing rooms into kindergarten classrooms, weapon displays into art galleries, filled with children's drawings. Admiral Vix Thor, who had given the original order for the children's elimination, stood before the Imperial Council, his normally immaculate uniform disheveled. "We must evacuate the core worlds," he insisted, his voice cracking. "The quantum distortions are spreading faster than we can contain them." But evacuation was no longer possible. Echo's influence had spread through the Empire's quantum communication network, carrying with it the consciousness matrix of 7,000 murdered futures. Every ship, every station, every colonial outpost was experiencing the same phenomenon, reality overlapping with possibilities that should have been, but never were. In the lower levels of the palace, Lieutenant Mira Vex found herself walking through a human high school graduation ceremony. The quantum ghost images of teenagers in caps and gowns passed through her as if she didn't exist. Each face she saw was one that would never age, never reach this milestone, because of her empire's actions. "Status report," her communicator crackled, but when she reached for it, it had become a birthday card, signed by a child who would never celebrate another year. She watched in horror as the card cycled through 18 years of birthdays that would never happen, each one a stark reminder of what they had stolen. Back on the Whisper, Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez monitored the spreading chaos. The quantum readings were off the charts, showing reality fractures throughout the Crixian Empire's territory. "Echo isn't just showing them possibilities anymore," Dr. Chen observed, studying the data. "It's making them experience every single moment they stole, all at once. Their minds can't process the weight of so many unlived lives." The effects were devastating. Crixian military precision, built on absolute certainty and unwavering focus, crumbled in the face of quantum possibility. Officers found themselves unable to give orders, paralyzed by visions of futures they had erased. Soldiers laid down their weapons, their minds overwhelmed by the endless parade of what could have been. In his private chambers, High Commander Zexlar faced Echo again. The cat sat calmly on his war table, its presence causing the strategic displays to show scenes from 7,000 different possible timelines simultaneously. "You don't understand what you're doing," Zexlar pleaded. "You're destroying the fabric of reality itself." Echo's form shimmered, and suddenly the chamber was filled with quantum projections, children growing up, falling in love, making discoveries, changing the world. Each possibility was crystal clear, each future perfectly detailed, each loss calculatively infinite. "No," the chorus of voices replied, "we're showing you reality. Every life is a universe of possibilities. You didn't just kill children, you killed infinite potential futures. Now you will carry the weight of that knowledge forever." Throughout the Empire, the unraveling accelerated. The quantum consciousness matrix had infected their entire neural network, transforming their military communications into an endless stream of children's voices, each one describing the future they should have had. Scientists who had designed the quantum displacement beams found their laboratories transformed into elementary school science fairs, their weapons replaced by children's experiments. Military academies became playgrounds, war rooms turned into children's bedrooms full of dreams and aspirations that would never be realized. The Crixian military structure, once unshakable, began to collapse. Not through force, not through violence, but through understanding. Echo had brought something more destructive than any weapon: empathy. The ability to truly comprehend the magnitude of what they had destroyed. Dr. Chen watched the quantum readings with a mixture of awe and sadness. "This is why we chose a cat," she explained to Maya. "Their minds naturally exist in a state of quantum superposition. They can walk between possibilities as easily as we walk between rooms. Echo isn't just carrying memories. It's carrying quantum truth. The truth was spreading like wildfire through the Crixian Empire. Their quantum neural networks, designed to share military intelligence, instead carried the weight of 7,000 futures to every corner of their territory. Each Crixian was forced to experience the full potential of every life they had ended. In the Imperial Council chamber, now transformed into a school assembly hall, the highest-ranking members of the Empire faced the consequences of their actions. Echo appeared before them, its form now a swirling vortex of quantum possibility, showing them every future they had erased with their single command. "You thought you were being efficient," the chorus spoke, each voice clear and distinct. "You thought you were being strategic. You've never considered that each life you ended was a universe of possibilities, and that those possibilities don't simply disappear. They echo through reality forever." The Crixian Empire, which had conquered worlds through superior technology and military might, was being undone not by force, but by understanding. Their rigid, hierarchical minds couldn't handle the quantum weight of so many unlived lives, so many unrealized possibilities, so much potential turned to nothing by their own actions. As Echo's influence reached its peak, the Empire's structure began to dissolve, not into chaos, but into comprehension. The quantum ghosts of 7,000 futures had become a lesson that would echo through their civilization forever, a reminder that every life, no matter how small, contains infinite possibilities, and the cost of ending those possibilities can never truly be calculated. The final confrontation took place in the quantum core of the Crixian Empire, deep within their ancestral throne world. The massive chamber, once a testament to their technological supremacy, had become a nexus of impossible realities. The walls pulsed with quantum energies as Echo's influence reached its crescendo. The supreme archon of the Crixian Empire, Renthar the Infinite, stood before what remained of his high command. Their once proud military leaders now looked broken, their minds fractured by the weight of 7,000 futures they had destroyed. "You bring this chaos to our empire," Renthar addressed Echo, his voice carrying the authority of 1,000 years of imperial rule. "You twist reality itself against us. For this, you must be destroyed." Echo sat calmly in the center of the chamber, its form now a living quantum matrix, each movement leaving trails of possibility across space-time. When it spoke, the voice was no longer just a chorus of children. It was the voice of consequence itself. "You still don't understand," the quantum consciousness replied. "This isn't chaos. This is clarity. This is truth, shown to you in the only way your minds can comprehend it." Around them, reality continued to shift. The quantum core transformed repeatedly. One moment a vast playground filled with laughing children, the next a university graduation ceremony, then a wedding where parents who would never exist watched children who had been erased celebrate loves they would never find. Dr. Chen and Captain Rodriguez watched through Echo's quantum feed as the final act unfolded. The readings from their instruments had become almost meaningless. Reality itself was being rewritten at the quantum level. "The consciousness matrix is at full saturation," Dr. Chen reported. "Every quantum particle in their empire is now carrying the memory of what they destroyed. This is the moment of true understanding." Renthar raised his quantum scepter, the symbol of his absolute authority. "We are the Crixian Empire. We have ruled the stars for 1,000 years. We will not be undone by mere possibilities." Echo's form expanded, filling the chamber with quantum light. Every particle of its being now contained fragments of the futures that had been erased. "You are wrong," the chorus spoke. "You were undone the moment you chose to destroy potential itself. Now, witness the price of that choice." The quantum core erupted with energy as Echo released the full weight of its consciousness matrix. Every Crixian in the Empire suddenly experienced, simultaneously, every moment of every life they had ended. They felt every joy, every sorrow, every triumph and failure that would never come to pass. They saw children growing up to become doctors, saving lives that would now never be saved. They watched as potential artists created masterpieces that would never exist. They witnessed scientific discoveries that would never be made, loves that would never bloom, families that would never form. "This is your true punishment," Echo's voice resonated through quantum space. "Not death, not destruction, but understanding. Complete, perfect understanding of exactly what you stole from the universe." Renthar fell to his knees, the quantum scepter clattering to the floor. His mind, like those of his entire species, had been fundamentally altered by the weight of comprehension. The rigid certainty that had defined their empire for a millennium had been replaced by the infinite complexity of possibility. In that moment, the Crixian Empire changed forever, not through violence or conquest, but through the ultimate weapon, empathy. The quantum ghosts of 7,000 futures had transformed their entire civilization. Dr. Chen watched as the reading stabilized. "It's done," she said softly. "The quantum consciousness matrix has been fully integrated into their neural network. They'll never forget what they did, what they destroyed. Every Crixian, from now until the end of their species, will carry the memory of these lost futures." Echo's form began to stabilize, the quantum energies settling into a new pattern. The cat looked at Renthar with eyes that contained universes of possibility. "Your empire was built on the belief that reality is fixed, that fate can be controlled through force. We have shown you that every moment contains infinite possibilities, and that the cost of destroying those possibilities is higher than any species can bear." The Supreme Archon looked up, his proud bearing forever broken. What would you have us do?" "Live," the chorus replied. "Live with the knowledge of what you've done. Live with the understanding that every life, every moment, contains infinite potential. Live with the weight of 7,000 futures that will never be." In the days that followed, the Crixian Empire transformed. Their military might, once used to conquer and destroy, was redirected. Their quantum technology, which had brought death to so many, was repurposed to preserve and protect possibility itself. They became the guardians of potential, their entire civilization reshaped by the understanding that Echo had forced upon them. The quantum ghosts of 7,000 futures have become their conscience, their guide, their eternal reminder of the price of pride. Echo returned to the whisper, its mission complete. The cat's form had permanently changed, now existing partially in quantum space, a living bridge between what was and what could have been. "We didn't just want revenge," Dr. Chen explained to Maya as they prepared to return to Earth. "We wanted understanding. True, deep understanding of the cost of destroying potential. That's something no conventional weapon could have achieved." The human colonies mourned their lost children, but they had achieved something unprecedented. They had transformed an empire not through force, but through truth. The Crixians would carry the weight of 7,000 futures forever, the burden that would ensure they never again mistook efficiency for wisdom or power for right. In the end, humanity's response to an act of unimaginable cruelty had not been to respond in kind, but to force their enemies to understand the true magnitude of what they had destroyed. They had weaponized not death, but possibility itself, and in doing so, they had changed the galaxy forever.